Number 5. Jonestown. The horrific events that unfolded at the People's Temple Agricultural Project, universally known as Jonestown, remain one of the darkest moments in American history. Founded by the highly charismatic and deeply paranoid cult leader Jim Jones, the settlement was located deep in the dense, isolated jungles of Guyana. Jones promised his followers a socialist utopia free from racism and class oppression. However, the reality was a brutal, totalitarian nightmare where armed guards patrolled the perimeter and residents were subjected to grueling labor and sleep deprivation. In November 1978, U.S. Congressman Leo Ryan traveled to Jonestown to investigate escalating rumors of human rights abuses. As Ryan and several defecting members attempted to leave, Jones's heavily armed Red Brigade opened fire on the airstrip, assassinating the congressman and several journalists. Knowing the U.S. military would quickly retaliate, Jones ordered his followers to commit revolutionary suicide. In a terrifying sequence captured on a chilling audio recording known as the Death Tape, over 900 men, women, and children were systematically poisoned with a deadly mixture of cyanide, Valium, and Flavor Aid. The sheer scale of the tragedy completely shocked the world, forever cementing the phrase "drinking the Kool-Aid" into the cultural lexicon and fundamentally changing how society views religious extremism. Number 4. Heaven's Gate. In March 1997, the police department in San Diego, California, received an anonymous tip directing them to a massive, luxurious mansion in the exclusive neighborhood of Rancho Santa Fe. Inside, they discovered a scene of unbelievable, deeply unsettling order. 39 people lay dead on bunk beds and mattresses, neatly dressed in identical black shirts, sweatpants, and brand new black and white Nike Decade sneakers. Each victim had a purple shroud draped over their face and torso, and carried exactly $5.75 in their pocket. This was the tragic end of Heaven's Gate, a UFO-based religious cult led by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. For decades, Applewhite had preached that the human body was merely a temporary vehicle, and that the only way to survive the impending recycling of the Earth was to ascend to the next level. The group believed that the approach of the Hale-Bopp comet in 1997 was the highly anticipated signal they had been waiting for. They were convinced a massive extraterrestrial spacecraft was trailing directly behind the comet, waiting to collect their souls. In highly synchronized shifts, the members willingly ingested a lethal mixture of phenobarbital and applesauce, washing it down with vodka, resulting in the largest mass suicide in U.S. history. Number 3. The Branch Davidians in Waco. The deadly, 51-day siege at the Mount Carmel Center near Waco, Texas, remains one of the most controversial and highly scrutinized events in the history of American law enforcement. The heavily fortified compound was home to the Branch Davidians, an apocalyptic religious sect led by the intensely charismatic David Koresh. Koresh claimed to be the final prophet and was heavily stockpiling illegal military-grade weapons in preparation for the end of the world. On February 28, 1993, the ATF attempted a massive raid on the compound to execute a search warrant, resulting in a fierce, chaotic gun battle that left 4 federal agents and 6 Davidians dead. The FBI immediately took over, surrounding the compound with tanks, helicopters, and heavily armed tactical teams. The ensuing standoff lasted for nearly 2 months, characterized by psychological warfare, blaring noise, and failed negotiations. On the morning of April 19, the FBI launched a final, aggressive assault, using heavily armored vehicles to pump massive amounts of CS tear gas directly into the compound. Within hours, the entire wooden structure erupted into a massive, uncontrolled inferno. While the FBI claimed the Davidians intentionally set the fires to commit mass suicide, critics argued the government's aggressive tactics were highly irresponsible. Tragically, 76 Branch Davidians, including 25 children, burned alive in the flames. Number 2. Aum Shinrikyo. Aum Shinrikyo was a terrifying Japanese doomsday cult that managed to evolve from a harmless yoga class into a highly sophisticated, multi-million-dollar terrorist organization capable of mass destruction. Founded by the nearly blind and highly eccentric Shoko Asahara, the cult aggressively blended elements of Buddhism, Hinduism, and dark, apocalyptic Christian prophecies. Asahara demanded absolute devotion from his followers, requiring them to drink his bathwater and wear electronic helmets designed to synchronize their brainwaves with his. He preached that a devastating Third World War initiated by the United States was imminent, and only his followers would survive. To accelerate the apocalypse, the cult began actively recruiting highly educated scientists from Japan's top universities and aggressively developing chemical, biological, and conventional weapons in heavily fortified, secret laboratories. Their terrifying ambitions culminated on the morning of March 20, 1995, when cult members boarded multiple crowded subway trains in Tokyo during peak rush hour. Using the tips of sharpened umbrellas, they punctured plastic bags filled with liquid sarin, a highly lethal nerve gas originally developed by the Nazis. The deadly, invisible gas quickly spread through the train cars, killing 13 people, severely injuring 50, and causing temporary vision loss and respiratory issues for over 5,000 commuters. Number 1. The Order of the Solar Temple. The incredibly wealthy and highly secretive Order of the Solar Temple was an esoteric cult founded in 1984 by Luke Jurett, a charismatic homeopathic physician, and Joseph D. Mambro, a deeply manipulative occultist. The group aggressively claimed to be the direct descendants of the medieval Knights Templar, recruiting affluent professionals, politicians, and socialites in Switzerland, France, and Canada. The leaders taught that the Earth was facing an imminent, devastating ecological collapse, and that the only path to salvation was to transition to the star Sirius, where their souls would continue to exist. In October 1994, the cult's deeply paranoid delusions violently erupted into the real world. In highly synchronized, deeply ritualistic murders across Switzerland and Canada, 53 members of the order were found dead in massive, blazing fires. Many of the victims had been drugged, shot repeatedly in the head, and arranged in circular patterns with their heads pointing outward, wearing ceremonial robes. Tragically, many members who did not fully commit suicide were murdered by the group's leadership before the fires were set. The sheer horror continued sporadically